Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with some old school wrestling for you today, and I'm going to be talking about WWF's Fully Loaded In Your House 1998. This event took place on July 26th. Let me actually move my notes a few feet here. Alright. Yes, July 26th, 1998 in the Sealand Arena in Fresno, California. This was the first of only 3 fully loaded pay-per-view events, and they're all kind of remembered very fondly, even considered classics in a way. This would be one of the last In Your House events. Now, to be fair, I think it was St. Valentine's Day Massacre in February would be the last In Your House, but WWE had pretty much abandoned the whole In Your House look, set, and aesthetic by I think a year before this with Canadian Stampede. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they were definitely done with that look by Bad Blood in October. This was, I wanted to do this video because last month I covered WCW in June of 97 when WWF was still, they were, like I said in the video, they're still a long ways from the Attitude Era, many, many months away, where WCW was kicking ass. Now we get to the summer of 1998, and both companies are firing on all cylinders. Yes, there's stuff both companies were doing at this time that I didn't 100% like as a fan, but there's no denying that by the summer of 1998, you cannot go anywhere without pro wrestling. It was the most popular thing on television, and I mean that like literally. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. Wrestling had never ever been as popular as it was at the time of this event. Anyhow, one thing the show's kind of praised for is I don't know if I've ever even seen Fully Loaded 98 before sitting down to watch it just yesterday. But one of the reasons I was looking forward to it is because it is one of the rare incidences where WWE used their July pay-per-view as they rightfully should, as like a road to SummerSlam kickoff. There's no less than 5 major matches for SummerSlam that are either set here, seeds set for here in this show, or the rivalries escalate during this show. Anyhow, let's get going. Before we even get the WWF logo or anything like that, we see Jerry the King Lawler kind of sneaking into Sable's dressing room, wanting to get a sneak peek at her bikini. You see her silhouette of her take off her top, and Jerry Lawler acts like Jerry Lawler, and it's silly. Then we get the opening package. It's just hyping up the big feud between the two-way feud. Actually, it's fucking a web of rivalries here. Got Kane and Mankind of the tag champions. Stone Cold and The Undertaker are going to challenge him. Stone Cold and Taker are going to fight at SummerSlam for the world title, and none of these 4 guys get along. And damn sure, since this was the very first pay-per-view after that Hell in a Cell match, they show that fall of Foley getting thrown off the top in the opening package. Our commentating team here are good old JR, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Lawler, the classic wrestling combo. As childish as Jerry Lawler could get, still, man, I think of wrestling. That's the team I hear. And our ring announcer is Howard Finkel. So our opening match is Val Venus facing Double J Jeff Jarrett, JFF JARRETT with Tennessee Lee in his corner, as well as Southern Justice, better known as the Godwins. I actually think Southern Justice was kind of a better gimmick for these guys, but I guess that's not as they're remembered as the Goblins. Before the match starts, Kai comes down to the ring, and Yamaguchi-san sits on commentary while the referee just throws both tag teams, Kai and the 3-man team of Kai, of course. Taka wasn't with him yet. It's Funaki and the other 2 guys. I can't remember their names. And makes those 3 guys in Southern Justice leave ringside. I can't tell you anything about this match in ring because I was incredibly distracted by the non-stop racist parade of bad jokes. Jerry Lawler was dropping on his Japanese color guest commentator. I mean, every other word out of his mouth was, did you keep your wife in line today? A little dick joke, or even asking her if he's seen his wife's porno yet. I mean, just really, really foul shit. It was really rubbing me the wrong way, and I could not even pay attention to the match. Val Venus wins with a roll up, with that kind of spot with two guys charging to the ropes. They bounce back, and the other guy rolls through into hooking them up. Yeah, there was a match in the ring that Jerry Lawler's mouth ruined. Like I said, I usually give Jerry Lawler a pass because of, he was Jerry Lawler. He was trying to get heat. He is a heel commentator, but Jesus Christ, man, this time it was to the detriment of the match. You know what I mean? We go to the first of a couple of shots. We're outside the Hart House in Calgary, and waiting for the upcoming, the first and only ever, I believe, dungeon match. I'll get to that later. Then we see highlights showing us how D'Lo Brown, thanks to The Rock's interference, beat Triple H for the European title the previous Monday night on Raw. D'Lo Brown, now with the Godfather in his corner, is going to take on X-Pac with China in his corner. Why is this not for the title? You have two mid-carders fighting in a singles match with one of them being a mid-card champion at a pay-per-view. There's no excuse for this not to be a title match. And I was also kind of surprised. I thought he did not change his name to the Godfather until he left the nation. But I thought it was always Kama Mustafa up till he left. But I was wrong. But he already got the Godfather look. So he's got the cigar and the hat, and he's got that strut. You know what I mean? Oh hell! Hold on 1 second. I got pause. Alright, I had to get the damn charger for my laptop. It's gonna die. Here's my notes. Anyhow, I can't even remember exactly what happened. Godfather calls a distraction or something. D'Lo hits the sky high and gets the pin. I was just, again, why was this not a title match? And by the way, another short match too, for the exception of the main event and the IC title match. Nothing on this show goes over 10 minutes. And there's 9 matches. Up next we have, then we see Kevin Kelly and Tom Pritchard in the back, and they're at a desk, and they're talking about how The Undertaker's not yet arrived to the arena tonight. And I'm a little confused here, because I've seen from this era pay-per-views before, where we got Pritchard and Kevin Kelly sitting at a desk in the back. Now, if they're backstage journalists, why are they just sitting in one spot all night? Supposed to be walking around talking to the wrestlers, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the story going on here. Taker hasn't gotten here yet tonight. And in addition to that, Austin doesn't trust The Undertaker, so he even says at one point in the match package, is it going to be a tag match, or I'm going to be fighting all three of the sons of bitches? So that's the story going on. So not only is Taker not here tonight, there's absolutely no time for him and Austin to work out a strategy for the tag title match. We cut to nobody interviewing, JR at the desk interviewing over his mic. Jim Ross, Terry Funk and Bradshaw were getting ready for their tag team match. Terry Funk announces that that this is going to be his last match in the WWE for a while, and I may be wrong, I think this was his last pay-per-view match in the WWE until One Night Stand 06, when he had the big multi-man with Mick Foley. Bradshaw's pissed. He's like, I'm your tag team partner. You couldn't tell me about this? And he kind of storms off. I point this out mainly because behind them is the poster, the big billboard for the show, Fully Loaded. And underneath Fully Loaded, it says, "In Your House." It's the only reference this whole show that this is an in your house. This match, we got Scorpio and Farouk taking on Terry Funk and Bradshaw. And this match legit gets a boring chant from the crowd. Granted, to their credit, as soon as the boring chants come in, Scorpio Sky takes it home with a very nice 450 on Terry Funk and wins. After the match, Bradshaw attacks all 3 of the other guys, and when he hits Farouk with a steel chair, he kind of looks down at him like, we're gonna be friends. Anyhow, up next we have a big hall sprawl that is very disappointing. Big Van Vader, the Mastodon, taking on Mark Henry, not quite yet sexual chocolate, but damn sure the world's strongest man. I was ready for a brawl, and the crowd was too. Both guys got great reactions as soon as they started, jostling and brawling. Because these are not only two really, really big dudes and really, really strong, but they're also very. Both of these guys are deceivingly agile and fast. And the match only goes 5 minutes. I mean, I put down the time frames here. Let's see. I meant to be saying those. The Val Venis Jeff Jarrett match went 7 minutes 45 seconds. D'Lo and S-Pac went 8:26. The tag match went Farouk and Scorpio versus Funk and Bradshaw went 6:49. And this match only went 5 minutes and 3 seconds, which is a shame. Vader misses the Vader bomb. Mark Henry follows up with a Ultimate Warrior style big splash, which is his original finisher before he was doing the World's Strongest Slam, which I actually think his big splash is a better finisher for him and certainly fits him better than the Warrior. Anyhow, Mark Henry wins this match in a pretty much of a nothing match, which is a shame because I was ready to watch this House Brawl, and the crowd damn sure was too. We got to another shot of outside the Hart House, and as well as another update with Pritchard and Kelly telling us the Undertaker still isn't here. And then we go to Kane, Mankind, and Paul Bearer coming out to the ring to cut an in-ring promo. And I'm just like, because, why not have an in-ring promo at a fucking pay-per-view? Those are always so lovely. And there's 2 of them tonight. But do you really think the crowd needs a cool-down segment after a 5-minute match? You know what I mean? Anyhow, they basically come out there saying Taker's not going to be here tonight, and if he does, there's nothing they can do to stop them, blah, 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 blah. This is more about when the New Age Outlaws came out. They come out, no fear, right in Kane and Mankind's face, challenge them to a rematch for the tag titles tomorrow night. The champs accept, and the brawl segment ends with security trying to split them all out, get them out of the ring so we can get back on with the show. This is going to be even more unnecessary as you turn to find out after what happens in the main event. But I guess they just figured they had to get Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg were extremely over at this time, and for some reason they're not booked for this pay-per-view at all to wrestle, so I guess they had to work them in somewhere. Anyhow, up next is a tag team grudge match. The Disciples of Apocalypse, 8-Ball and Skull, also known as the Harris Brothers or the Blue Brothers. They're Ron and Don Harris, with Paul Ellering in their corner taking on the Legion of Doom, Animal and Hulk, who I guess have by this point had dropped Sonny. This match just irritated the shit out of me. Paul Ellering is so physically involved in this match, it should have just been a handicap match. Eventually, in pretty much the whole match was just Animal getting beat down, Hulk getting beat down, waiting for the hot tag, finally gets the hot tag. Hulk comes in there like a house of fire. Ellering calls a distraction, they use twin magic, and one of the clearly, obviously taller and slimmer Harris brother, identical twins, my ass. The Usos are identical twins. These guys were not. The bigger Harris brother slides in, hits a DDT, and pins Hulk to win Animal to win the match for these guys. It went 8 minutes 50 seconds, and again, this match had heat. It had backstory. It had 2 guys who can work tag team matches. And they were given time. It nearly twice, nearly as longer than anybody else so far. And it's just, damn it. And also point out that Hulk. And this time I mean Hulk, was going through some serious personal issues at this time, very similar to the stuff Scott Hall was. And just like with what happened with Scott Hall in WCW, it would be exploited on television on a weekly basis. And it's not a very comfortable thing to talk about. It was very, very distasteful for both those companies to treat these men as very, very personal issues, very serious issues, as just fodder for their soap opera. While the LOD are leaving the ring, Vince McMahon and the Stooges walk past them like, oh man, that's a tough break, pal. The Stooges, and I swear, I always forget that Sergeant Slaughter was one of the Stooges for a while. I always slips my mind. But the Three Stooges come out with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon announces that, it's not his fault The Undertaker isn't here yet, which is, to be fair, but just trying to get some heat on himself. And he announces that he has a suitable replacement for The Undertaker if he does not arrive, and it's the Brooklyn Brawler. The Brooklyn Brawler comes out, acting like he's already won the title, gives Vince a hug, I'm ready, yeah, gets booed out of the building. It's funny, it's really funny, but there's no way Brooklyn Brawler's gonna be in this main event. Up next, we finally go to the dungeon match between Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock with special guest referee Dan the Beast Severn. Damn, man. I like this match. I really did. It's one of my favorite things of the show. But why? It kind of made me regret I picked this show because I'm so sick of the goddamn, cinematic matches. Watch another damn one here. These guys did some really, really cool, interesting stuff using the room, using the space. It's a great spot where he does like this hip toss, like throw, tossing Ken Shamrock upwards, face first into some low-hanging pipes. There's there's a bit where he just lifts Shamrock straight up and smashes his head through the ceiling of the basement. Eventually, Shamrock misses a spin kick, takes out Severn. Owen uses his distraction to pick up a barbell and smack Ken in the back of the head. He uses his modified, kind of looks like he's positioning for a crossface, but he's not locking anything in. He just kind of, out of Severn's point of view, kind of takes Shamrock's hand and kind of makes it look like he's tapping out. Severn gives the match to Owen Hart. I do think they missed a chance for some great comedy here towards the end of the match. I absolutely would have loved if they would have had a bit earlier in the night of Helen Hart down there asking the camera crew and guys if they need any snacks or anything like that. Or after the match even, Owen Hart's going back upstairs. He's like, Mom, do we have any ice? Anything like this would have just been rich to me. I mean, yeah, sure, it's supposed to be at the serious, dangerous, first ever kind of match, but it's still two guys fighting in one of the dude's parents' basement. There's humor here. Use it. Anyway, the match went 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Come here, baby. Somebody just woke up. Say hello. Say hi. Hi. I'm gonna pause again so I can make her a drink. Alright, up next is one of the main reasons to watch this show. Intercontinental Championship match, The Rock defending against Triple H. Now both guys come out with their entire faction. Well, of course, dads. You got Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, X-Pac in China. And for the nation, you got D'Lo, Godfather, Mark Henry. But Owen Hart is still in Calgary. That was shot fucking live. Now during the ring announcements, they announced that the stipulation here is a 2 out of 3 falls match with a 1 minute rest period in between each fall and an overall 30-minute time limit. Now if you hear that announcement and you know wrestling, you already smell a screwy finish before the bell even fucking rings. Well, I do like the referee instantly just throws everybody out of ringside. Every damn one of them except China. But guess what? Every fucking one of them are going to come back and interfere. Every damn one. The first fall is probably the longest fall. I think it went around 18 minutes. But it was the slowest part of the guys. You could tell they were killing time. Lots of rest holds. Lots of fighting outside the ring. Lots of Rocky in charge. Rocky does get in the lead early because when Mark Henry comes out and hits his big splash on the floor while the referee's not looking and then goes back. Godfather tries to interfere, the New Age Outlaws run him off. D'Lo tries to interfere, but he gets crouched on the top rope by Triple H. Triple H then grabs the European title and clunks him with it, but he turns around, walks right into a rock bottom, and Rocky wins the first fall. Second fall, things get a little bit more interesting. They take more advantage of the kind of attitude era and no DQ vibe. Chairs, weapons, using cords from the excuse me, the cords from the cameras they choke each other with. Eventually, X-Pac runs in, the referee's not looking, hits an awesome X Factor, but Rocky kicks out. Rocky accidentally goes to hit Triple H with a chair. Accidentally hits the referee. Shiny comes in, hits a low blow on the Rock, DDT on the Rock, DDTs the Rock onto a steel chair. Triple H covers, and Triple H ties it up. Now we're 1 up. The second rest period is ended. We're in the final fall, but there are only 2 minutes left of the match. And of course, they go. It's Ricky Steamboat, Rick Rude thing. It's just chain wrestle. Each guy trying to get anything. You know, shoulder block, go for a pin. You know, hip toss, go for a pin. Finally, Triple H hits the pedigree. And the referee doesn't count because there's not even 3 seconds left on the clock. Now, I actually think Hebner here fucked up. Mike Chioda was the original referee. He gets knocked out. Hebner comes out to finish the match. And Hebner totally blows the finish of the match. It would have been so much more emotional if Triple H hits a pedigree, gets the cover. Hebner goes down there. 1, 2, bell rings. That's how they should have done it. But Hebner doesn't even bother dropping down to do the count. He just waves it off. And then the bell rings. He had time for at least a 1 count, even with his slow-ass count. Hebner fucked up the finish of this match with his being a lazy prick. I don't like Earl Hebner, never have. He screwed Brett. So this match ends in a no contest, and which would eventually lead into a big match at SummerSlam, which would really be a coming out party for both of these guys. And after SummerSlam 99, there would be Intercontinental title matches, there would be mid-card matches, but neither one of those guys were ever considered mid-carders again. They were both main event stars after SummerSlam 98. We go to exclusive DVD videos or home video footage of The Rock and D'Lo leaving the arena. No idea why that's here. What was on the actual pay-per-view? Fuck the network for throwing that in there. We get packaged for the Diva contest. Jerry the King Lawler is going in the ring to be the judge for the Diva contest, and Dustin Runnels is in the ring already, and he wants to have a moment of prayer, a prayer for these poor souls, for this sinful, perverted thing they're about to witness. I'm sorry, but I thought this run of Dustin Runnels was funny as hell. Being this super snobby, uptight guy, and it ends up being, as I talked about in a previous video, Val Venus, who kind of brings Goldust back, you know. But I thought this was a funny run. He got they're booing the shit out of him because, yeah, they want to see titties. And considering there's so much booing, and you look at this crowd, it's like, especially in the front early rows, it's like fucking 80% adolescent boy. It's the Attitude Era. So the bikini contest is up. It's Jacqueline with Marvelous Mark Merrow taking on Sable. And this isn't a match. They just both come out. Jacqueline comes out. She's dressed very skimpy. Looks very good. Great shape. And basically does kind of a stripper dance. Her tit falls out. It's blurred. They blur it out, which is a shame, because if you're watching it on paper, you got a good look at that titty. It's like right in frame, man. Then Sable takes off her thing, and she's just wearing a basic top. Jerry Lawler said, that's not what you were wearing backstage when you showed off to me. She said, this was Mr. McMahon told me to wear. She said, I have to wear something conservative. This isn't conservative to me. So she takes off the top, and she's not wearing a bikini. She's just wearing handprint pasties over her nipples. Crowd goes nuts. Fucking Jerry Lawler ejaculates in the ring, and he declares Sable the winner. And while Mark Merrow and Jacqueline protest that she should be disqualified, she cheated, that's not a bikini. To be fair, Jacqueline's not really wearing a bikini either. But, I mean, it's more of a bikini than what Sable's wearing. Jacqueline's wearing more of lingerie, I guess. I lived in Florida at 18 years. I've never seen a woman walking around wearing that little of clothing outside of a strip club. But this McMahon and the Stooges come back down, and he puts his jacket over Sable, and they score. I guess nobody worries about the other naked woman in the ring. Oh, she can just stay naked, huh? Anyhow, the segment ends with Merrow still protesting. That's not a bikini. Here's your winner, raising Jackie's hand. We get another exclusive backstage footage of Sable and Jacqueline and Merrow storming into Sable's dressing room, claiming she stole the thing. Sable having security drag him out, this whole thing. Another thing totally unnecessary. Main event time. We got Stone Cold Steve Austin, the World Heavyweight Champion, taking on, teaming with The Undertaker to take on the champions, Kane and Mankind, with Paul Bearer in their corner. Sometime before the Intercontinental title match, they announced that The Undertaker, or actually no, sometime during the Intercontinental match, they announced that The Undertaker has finally arrived. So The Undertaker apparently has only been in the arena for like 20 minutes. Before the bell rings, Undertaker and Stone Cold are having to stare down the ring. Then they get jumped by Kane and Taker, and the match finally gets to the ring. It's some really great stuff here. Great spot where Kane's sitting down in front of the ring steps outside. Undertaker, Austin Irish whips Kane into Mankind, whose knee bounces off of Kane's face, and he goes flipping over the ring steps. That was a great spot. Lots of good stuff in here. Taker and Austin keep doing awesome moves and going back and shooting each other birds before they tag in and out. My favorite spot in this movie is Austin finally hits in this match. It's a stunner on Kane. Mankind comes in, gets a mandible claw, hits a stunner to get out of the mandible claw. All three guys are knocked out in the ring, and they cut over there. The Undertaker's just laying in his corner. No reaction, no emotion. He fuck all these guys. Taker finally gets his hot tag, comes in like a house of fire, hits a tombstone on Mankind, and wins the match for him and Austin. They are the new World Tag Team Champions, but the pay-per-view ends with The Undertaker leaving the arena with both of the belts himself. Both tag titles. Honestly, I gotta give this show a C. C+, I guess, if that's even a grade, because I really think that it is not until the last 4 matches till anything gets at all interesting or watchable. The first half of the show is all filler. And like I said, we could have had a European title match. We could have had... What the fuck are the New Age Outlaws? I mean, why were they not booked? And, just the fact that one match got changed, boring. The only thing on the only 2 matches, the whole mid-card were ruined by Vader and Henry going too short, and D'Lo and X-Pac not being for the title. Especially since D'Lo won anyways. I mean, he was the champion. I think there was some bad booking here. And I think the first fall of the Rock Triple H match was way too slow, and the 30-minute time limit gimmick just telegraphed the fucking finish. And the bikini contest was actually more entertaining than I expected to be. It was funny, but the fact that this match did set up several matches for SummerSlam. Austin and Taker were already booked. The New Age Outlaws would eventually get their rematch, get the titles back at SummerSlam because Kane and Taker get the titles back in 2 weeks on Raw in a 4-way match, and Taker outlaw, and then Kane doesn't show up, leaves Mankind to wrestle a street fight against the Outlaws by himself, and they get the titles back, and then immediately after the match, Kane jumps Mankind. Hart and Shamrock would have a Lions Den match, the first one ever, which is even better than this dungeon match, since the dungeon match was only 5 minutes long. Edge would make his SummerSlam debut being Sable's tag team partner while they beat Mero and Jacqueline in a tag match. And of course, the legendary, my personal favorite match ever in SummerSlam probably, maybe only second to Brett versus Mr. Perfect, the ladder match between The Rock and Triple H. SummerSlam 98 is a must-see classic show, one of WWE's most iconic events they've ever put on. But Fully Loaded 98 is just a commercial for this show. And it was a little disappointing. I still understand why people love it, why people consider it a classic, but I personally feel both Fully Loaded 2000, especially 99, are superior shows to this. But the Fully Loaded trilogy is still something to behold, to appreciate, and to revisit. Anyhow, I hope y'all liked this video. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.